Question 1496. When did you last write a check?
Fuck. No time in the past year at least, so.
No one has written a check recently. I thought checks were still prevalent in the States.
Not since I lived in Tucson, I haven't.
How long ago was that?
I don't think I've written one in
At least 4 years.
Nerdy says receiving checks, if that counts. Not really, because it might do. I mean, the problem is we get share dividends as checks if you don't sign up to get it to go in the bank.
I've had to turn away checks because I don't have a bank account.
Can you not just cash it? Theo says 98.
You try to go cash a check if you're not a
we
customer of a specific bank.
We have post offices for that. Christopher says last month had to get a physical one from the bank. Ox says 2003. I just looked it up. Theo says he thinks it bounced. Does that count? Sure. Tobin says yeah. Tobin says the 90s. Tusk says 2004. I was a student and I used my cheque guarantee card to steal over 5k from the Bank of Scotland. What they continued to they continued to guarantee the checks.
Is this why we had to bail the Bank of Scotland out in 2008?
Yeah, it's all Tusk.
Yeah.
Never Again says I use checks every day, but personal checks at least once a month. Mark says I got a bank check to pay for a car about 8 months ago. I loved buying my new car. You see, wouldn't it be better to buy it with cash? Just get a big wad of cash and walk down.
You know, I what's happened in my life is that I use cash more than almost anything.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you that in the business I do the tills for, year before last, cards accounted for 10% of the business. With no checks, just cards. And in the last 12 months, card now accounts for 90% of the business.
I can actually tell you, now I can remember why the last thing I had to send a check for was when I was saving up to go to China. Because the company we were going for was a very small little operation that it was easier just to mail them. The easiest thing was to mail them a check.
Well, this is the thing. The reason they don't want to get rid of checks in the UK is sending stuff through the post.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, you ask how long people send checks. I can't remember the last time I ever used a postal order for anything.
No,
I can't. I mean, they've been obsolete since like the 90s, really.
I was gonna say, as a kid, I remember sending a postal order to a TV competition, for postage and packing.
What was the TV competition related
I've
to?
no idea. Absolutely no idea. It depends how old I was.
To get your blue Peter badge, was it, or?
There's a reasonable chance it was Blue Peter.
Okay, it sounded like you said Blue Pizza, and that was very confusing.
Do you not have Blue Peter over there?
Blue Peter?
Blue Peter's a very British show.
Oh, you guys have shit shows. Come on.
Are you saying
you watch all
better than fucking Sesame Street?
Peter.
Oh,
Peter.
Peter.
As in the really dodgy animal rights organisation.
Yeah. It's
Peter.
Peter. So you're not actually saying Peter.
No, I'm saying Peter. The name is Peter, as in a person.
Dave, can I skip this question just by
What
saying,
learn how to talk?
can I just skip this question by saying, here's one I answered earlier?
What?
See, you're not even getting the Blue Peter references here, Dave. I'm disappointed.
I don't remember Blue Peter. I don't remember Blue Peter. That's the worst thing.
You remember the theme tune?
I know. Do. Chad says, last year I didn't want to set up an online bank transfer. I was going anyway, so I wrote myself a check. Actually, that's probably the last time I wrote a check because that's how you used to get cash out the bank. And you wanted to get more than 250 quid out because you could only get 250 quid out of the ATM. So you write yourself a check for cash and pass it at the bank. That's got to be the last time I wrote a check, and that must have been 15 years ago.
Okay.
Well, now you can use your card to inside the bank.
I was going to say you can just use your card. I didn't realize it was 15 years ago.
Nerdy says, I must postal order something now. Send your postal orders to me. Tusk says, I used a postal order to buy my fishing permit just a month ago. Why are you buying a fishing permit? I thought no one bought fishing permits anymore. I sent a post
in America.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. You have to.
What happens if you don't? Who checks them? The fish?
No, I mean the Game and Wildlife will, if they catch you, they will fine you. If you want to enter some kind of fishing competition or something like that, you have to have a license. So, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I did. I grew up fishing. I never had a license, but I don't know if it relates to young kids. I think there's an age.
Oh, excuse me, let me die. Manda, when was yours?
I had to be probably 5 years ago. But even probably before that, it had to be something. It was the last time I remember having a checkbook was when I lived in Tucson, but I very rarely wrote checks then.
Ricardo?
I've never wrote a check in the UK, so it's more than 10 years, and I really don't remember when. Maybe early 2000s, something like that. Yeah, I remember receiving, when I opened my first bank account in the UK with Nationwide, they gave me a checkbook, and I returned it about 2 years later, and they hadn't been touched. So it's clearly more than 10 years, and I don't know if I've. I think that maybe early 2000s, maybe.
I know I've paid one in since I've written one out, because I got £25 on a premium bond a few months ago. So
I'm trying to think of the last time I received a check, and it was
like an actual physical check or
a check that was on the bottom of something that I think I might have got some PPI insurance back or something like that. Because when I went bankrupt, they sent organisations off to check things and do things, and they decided to pay them to go and do PPI stuff on me, which if they'd have asked me, I'd have told them it's a complete waste of time. And it came back that I had for £1.50. I got a check for £1.50.
Woohoo! Yeah, I used to get loads of bloody calls about PPI back then, but it's like I knew for a fact I'd never bought PPI, so it didn't fucking.
No, this was the point. I knew I got it very early on, and I read the terms and conditions, and I knew that virtually everything health related that related to PPI, I would be disqualified from straight away. It doesn't matter any accident I have, they could turn it around to my health.
Yeah.
And so basically it meant that half of every policy wasn't worth it, so it was never worth it.
Yeah.
Right, Tusk just DM'd me. Blue Peter story. A few years ago, I emailed Blue Peter and told them that my house had been burgled. I said that the insurance company had replaced everything except my Blue Peter badge, so they sent me another. I sold it on eBay for 85 quid. But they found out and stopped kids getting into museums and zoos if they had a badge, because there was no way of telling if it was legit or if they had bought it online. I'm very proud of that. I fucking hated Blue Peter. Also, I never had a Blue Peter badge in the first place. So basically, he ruined it for an entire generation of kids.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Sorry. We'd lost Math Pig.
Yeah, I don't think he's feeling too good.
No worries.
What is Blue Peter?
Blue Peter. It's a kids show, but it's kind of, what would you call it? Variety show. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, it was sort of kids variety show, but it was named after the flag, the Blue Peter, which is the flag ships used to fly in Portland just before they were about to set sail, just as a sort of warning. Hey, it was kind of like a warning. Hey, we're going to be leaving soon.
Okay.
That cat sent. All I see is a blue boat.
That's the
Blue Peter.
That's the logo from the TV show. Yeah.
But I expected to see some kind of fucking character or something. That's all.
Well, no, it's just 3 presenters.
Jesus Christ! This is a prolific Wikipedia page for fucking British children's TV show.
It's been going on for a long time.
It's been on what's been on you think how long Sesame Street's been on TV, right? Blue Peter's older than that, way older.
It is.
Late
And,
50s?
Sesame Street is probably the closest thing to it as well, and Sesame Street's more scripted than Blue Peter. I can't think of anything closer than Sesame Street. Can you?
So Blue Peter was the original reality show? Is that what you're saying? Unscripted?
It's more like think more like a late night show you've got now, Stephen Colbert, right? But with
for kids,
with 3 or 4 presenters, and them going out and doing adventurous things as well, like zip lines and parachuting But it's hard to describe.
They do the weird little art and crafty things in the studio, We're
going to have to do a watch along of Blue Peter with Americans.
Yeah, I think Americans react to Blue Peter. That could be we need to show them some classic era stuff, though.
Yeah, no, it has to be classic era. I think they can get away with the copyright on anything modern. The first kids.
We've got to show them Shep.
Tatty says the first kids TV show with a pissing elephant.
Yeah, that is a clip you've got to show them. That's the elephant clip. We've got to show them that.
We're going to have to do a Blue Peter stream at some point.
Yeah.
Chad says the Muppet Show, but real people.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds creepy as fuck.
It was a good show.
What? They're just furries.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait. We have a balanced opinion here. Tusk says it was a load of shite for little middle-class wankers. They said things like run upstairs to the dressing up cabinet and ask mummy for the pirate sword. They did. It was very middle class.
That one, but I wouldn't surprise you. I see what Tusk is saying, though. It was a little bit, yeah.
Very much.
I don't think it didn't seem to cater to kids on council estates much. No.
I mean, did you? I don't suppose. Why don't you ever made it over there?
How old is it?
Blue Peter is very
Late
old.
50s?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the 50s or
Late
60s.
50s?
Yeah, as this clip it says is black and white from *69. How fucking old are you, Dave? Oh,
no, excuse me. It's an old. The show went on forever.
I'm pretty sure it's still on TV.
It is. Yeah. It's like saying you're talking like Doctor Who. It's not like I was there for the first episode.
Mm.
I had Yvette Cooper. Was she one? She was.
Yeah, I remember her.
Could I ask a bit of I have a request, please?
What's that?
Could we stop referring to the 50s and 60s as really old?
Okay. Well, okay, it's a little bit of trivia there. Anybody know which famous news event happened the day before the first Doctor Who episode ever aired?
World War One?
No, not quite that old.
No idea. It was 50.
Well, the first Doctor Who episode aired on the 23rd of November 1963. So there's a clue.
Cuban Missile Crisis?
Nope, you're in the right, but you are in the right. It was Kennedy assassination.
Ah. So Doctor Who is... There you go. Tusk said shooting of JFK. I hadn't even read it.
So I've got. Somebody said to me, "We got a head cannon somewhere." I think it may have been Godless Sewing. You may have said there's a head cannon somewhere that actually the JFK was the Doctor, and he was killed that day and regenerated as William Hartnell.
Hello.
This is why there's a conspiracy theory about the Kennedy assassination. It was actually there wasn't a person on the grassy knoll. It was the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you need to get familiar with Red Dwarf then, because I think they answer it.
They do. JFK shot JFK.
Yeah, JFK was the second gunman on the grassy knoll.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Carry on.
You've already answered this question, haven't you?
I don't know. What is it?
We're still on the check question, but we're mostly talking about British Kids TV.
That. I answered that. Yeah, checks are still very much a part of my life. Yep. I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay the surcharge to Mountain Electric for my electric bill every month.
There's a surcharge?
So,
if I do an electronic automatic payment, yeah, there's a surcharge, and I don't want to pay it. So,
see, in our country, they discount you when you do it electronically because it's cheaper.
Ow.
Can I point out that on screen here, Sandy is doing something very arts and crafty here.
Yeah.
Right. This is an episode of Blue Peter.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Just need Sandy to come back and say, "Here's one I made earlier."
Sandy, do you have any sticky back plastic?
Yeah.
Sticky back plastic.
Yeah, that's what you need.
No.
No. If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.